Yo, what's up guys? Talking about a Dragon's Abyss hard team that should be super easy to rune and should be sub 1 minute. I kinda doubted it and therefore I didn't really make the video on this yet. However, I went to try it out, of course on the alt, because the alt has a lot lower rune requirements, or rune quality in general. I could have done this on the main, but on the main it would have been something that I would say like, okay, I have crazy runes on there, so it probably wouldn't have done too much. So in this case, we did still go for the same style where we have the speed tuning as if we're looking at the team that I was doing with the twins. So that would mean that the vert has to be plus 65. First unit has to be like plus 140 something. I don't exactly remember the exact numbers, but I'll put that link in the description down below for that team that I made on the twins team. But I went for the same speed tuning, and what does that mean? It means that the high damage dealer can actually move twice before the right tower. That is the main take of this team, and I always felt like this is going to do too little damage. You're going to lack damage in the first place, or is it actually going to be a lot? Because before we had the thing where you had to do a lot of damage by enemy max HP. Since that they kind of reduce the amount of HP and increase the amount of defense, it becomes more interesting to just actually go for like a lot of damage and that kind of stuff. But I do feel like that it is very fast, but I also do feel like that it could have a few things going wrong. And especially on free-to-play accounts, I would say that it's more interesting to go for teams that are close towards 100% effective rate, rather than going for something that's super fast. Sure, if you're trying to catch up, then it's absolutely something interesting that you could go for this kind of team that might feel some bit here and there. Annoying thing here is that Sieq actually went for the skill 2 at the start, so that's a lot of damage decrease because he's not going to have everything up. Oh wait, the Crow is actually a little bit too slow because Crow should have moved once more in between. But we still have the Loren going in with the S2 the moment that she has the chance to go for that S2. Well, she's not really perfect AI. Like, I'm not entirely sure what Contours did to her. They said they buffed the AI. But it's not really like the perfect AI that you would hope for. Is this team sub 1 minute already? No. With the rune quality that I currently have, not. So I would say that you need a decent amount of damage on that Crow and that Raoq probably to get this team towards sub 1 minute. So is this like super easy to run? I don't think so. And the moment that you can run this like super effectively, would it be actually better than the twins team? I'm not sure about that as well, because most people do have that Deva, because Deva was HOH. It's a little bit while back. I don't have it on the alt, but it was HOH somewhere last year. And with that, it would be pretty interesting to still probably go for that team. But if you want to use units that you use on a lot of different places as well, might this be more interesting? I'm not sure. If you do happen to land that branding, it's definitely a lot faster. That is definitely a good take on it, that the branding helps out a lot. Big issue is though, landing that branding a lot would also mean that you have to put like 50 plus accuracy towards that Crow, which is not really an easy thing to go for. And the boss is getting in a dangerous state of getting his skills up. I would say that if the Loren doesn't go for strip at the right moment or doesn't go for pushbacks at the right moment, this team definitely will fail. Is it sub 1 minute? No. So what people were selling me is like, oh, you can probably do this on the rune quality of the alt. It's easily going to be like 55-second average, maybe even like 50-second average. I think if I would put this team towards the rune quality of my main, sure, then it's definitely going to be like probably 45 seconds, maybe I think 45 seconds, maybe 50 seconds. That's absolutely doable. But that would be with some good rune quality. In this case, it's actually getting close to failing like a bunch of times, in my opinion. So is this really a team that people should be aiming for as like your first speed team of clearing all of this? Personally, I would say no. And even that, like if we would have not killed 2 crystals, I would have probably have that Sieq dying over there, which is definitely not something that's recommended. I have the Loren on the Vio set here, which I use all the time, so it's not really the damage dealing thing, but I guess Vio helps a little bit more here than just going straight up damage anyways on Loren, because Loren doesn't do as much damage. I would say that there's good chances of doing a lot of stuff, but is this the team that I would recommend people to go for? No, especially for what I also mentioned earlier of saying like, okay, you kind of want to go for teams that have higher success rate rather than having chance of failing, because I definitely can see the chance of this failing. If you miss some strips, if you miss some pushbacks, you're definitely gonna fail. I will show you the runes. Like, the runes by all means are not really crazy, they're not really grinded, but that is something to be expected from a beginner account. So because they were saying, like, or a bunch of people were saying, like, you can actually build this on like beginner accounts, no worries whatsoever, you're definitely gonna make it. I would slightly disagree. I even have some fight sets over here, and I would say that the Raoq has a pretty decent set in there, actually. Still a bunch of grinds that I could miss. I do have good artifacts on the left side. I don't have good artifacts on the right side yet, because I haven't been farming that one yet. Crow can use some more skill ups, but is definitely not a bad Crow as well for beginner style, I would say. Definitely could have some either like improvements here and there. This one's actually not that bad for Crow, especially if you use it next to a Sieq. But I would say what I would actually recommend people to run is this. And this is not going to be sub 1 minute for sure, but this is going to be very safe. And the double Raoq make it that the Veromos has his S2 more often up. And with that, like, this is already so safe. Like, the whole team is stunned. Like, everything on their side is stunned. What's gonna kill you? Nothing. This case as well, we have that S2 going in, pushbacks. What is going to hit you? Nothing. So that kind of fail safes is definitely absolutely something that I could recommend for you to go for, because Veromos is just so much safer. Once again, everything's stunned. Yes, that a good rotation of getting the stuns in every time at the right moment? Maybe so, maybe so. But in the other teams, you often had like a Spectra in there, and then you had like a Sigmaris in there. If you want to speed that up, definitely a Veromos is a unit to speed up those kind of things. And the best part about Veromos is the moment you get dots from the left tower, you cleanse them off so you don't get the extra damage. You get extra attack bar based on that as well. Plus Veromos S2 is actually going to push back right side tower as well. So with those pushbacks, you have a lot more chances of not getting in the right skill. So in this case, we might get a breath over here if he doesn't. Loren did go for the strip, but we cleanse off those hits. If I would have been hit right now in this position with the other team, whole team would have been wiped, 100%. Maybe I need to be a little bit more tanky, but the thing is, since there's no debuffs on my whole team, my team would survive that. So sure, is this like 100%? Maybe if I make my team a little bit more tanky, then it would be 100%. But yeah, is this a lot slower? Yes, it's quite a bit slower. But I do think that this is definitely a more sophisticated team for something like this. I definitely do like the Raoq in here. The Raoq definitely makes a lot of sense. The Crow, I'm not too sure about, because Crow, yeah, sure, the team up is definitely nice. The damage of Crow is definitely nice. The branding is very nice, but you're not really going to land that too often, though. So is that really the way to go for? I'm not entirely sure. But the team-ups with potentially one of those two units is definitely good. Team-ups with the Veromos is actually also not bad for lowering the cooltime on the S2. So Crow definitely has like a nice fit in here if you want to kind of speed up your team. But that Sieq in there, the Sieq in there is definitely nice. You could say like, okay, then I lower the crit rate on both the Crow and the Raoq, which I didn't do in my case. So you could make them like 70 crit rate, and then it might be a bit better for those two units as well. I would say for beginner game, I wouldn't really focus too much on like going 70 crit rate. You could definitely lower the crit rate on those things, but since I use them in a lot of different places, I didn't really feel like it was the right way to go for a lot lower crit rate on those units. So for that reason, I actually maxed out their crits. But does that mean that it's slightly bit worse here if you use it next to Sieq? Yes, it is. So would the team be slightly better if I actually optimized it towards like 70 crit rate? Probably. But the moment that the Sieq doesn't go for the S3, or doesn't have the S3 up, which the option is there, he does have perfect AI to do the S3 if he has the S3 on the Sieq, which is definitely nice though. But I would say if you have slightly better rune quality than me, you could go for the team, but you really have to check like, okay, is it worth for me, like how often it fails and how often does it fail for you? So I would say the other team is definitely, I would say probably the easiest way to get sub 1 minute teams. It is probably easier than the Twins team. Twins team need a little bit more specific like artifacts and that kind of stuff. For me, I would definitely say I lack the rune quality to do that already. So the team I will be running is absolutely this. It's definitely going to be a little bit slower, but I would say that it's still pretty fast. It's still on a decent speed, and with the times 30, it's just chill to have runs that don't fill, in my opinion. So you just like on this case, on like my alt, I just throw away the phone for like 45 minutes. I come back and it's run finished with a run of 30. Super chill. But I would say that Veromos is definitely one of those units that is pretty recommended for me to go for to make this a lot safer. And that's also what I would recommend to you guys. Try to make these runs safe because, yeah, sure, if you have an infinite amount of crystals, run as fast as you can. If you don't, which most of our mortal kind of people do not have, and even if you have a lot of them, I'd rather still have successful runs than fails. I would go rather for a team like this. So that's pretty much my take on it. If you want to super speed you or like super speed run this Giants and you don't happen to have the Liam team, also the Liam team, disclaimer, a lot of people are like, oh, the moment I pull Liam, I can do the fastest dragons ever. You're going to be very disappointed because Liam S3, you actually need to bring the boss to like about 35% HP for the Liam to go for proper S3 all the time, which even I struggled with at some point. So I definitely don't think a lot of people can actually run that very safely. Like, sure, people can show like, oh, I did like a run of 30. Yeah, but then you're gonna have another run of 30 where you have like 3 fails in there. The team is definitely bound to fail if you don't have an insane amount of damage on your Kyles, Lunas, whatever, or like the middle damage in there. But if you want to build a speed team, I would say Twins team is probably still the safest out there. Link in the description to the video of the Twins team. But you probably do need a Deva in there or a Bale in there, or what's Bailey? I think Bailey, the light one of this one, or Martina in there. So those kind of units are definitely there. You would also probably need the skill ups for them. And that is the cool thing about this team. This team has a lot more free-to-play skill ups. So, and technically it's full free-to-play because the 4 stars on Twins are not really full free-to-play. So yeah, if you don't happen to have like the Twins skilled up and that kind of stuff, I would say that if you have the good rune quality, aim for this team and maybe lower the crit rate on these units a little bit, just to add more damage into the boss and that kind of stuff. I would also say that the skill ups on those are very important for it. Like, I do have the skill up in, well, just this one, but the skill ups in those two, since those are the main damage dealers, and especially on the S1 and that kind of stuff, having the max skill ups on those is definitely very useful. Also, having a Loren that's rather on fight than Vio is very useful. And for speed tuning, it's the same as the Twins team. You have to have the same speed ticks. So this one is actually too slow. You actually, do you need to be plus 100 to be that? Or, well, not plus 100, but like on the, I think it needs to be on like the 224 tick without speed lead. So you need like plus 90 or so on this unit. That is a decent amount, but I think that would probably be the fastest way out there. But as long as you don't have the rune quality to do the jet, absolutely, that Veromos in there is the best way to speed clear that Giants early game. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. If you have any other tips that you would recommend me to showcase, could be either free-to-play teams, could be full pay-to-win LD teams, could be some teams for this account, could be a team for the main account, just let me know in the comments or hit me up on Discord. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next one.